right, everyone. Welcome to a special Fridays with Frankie. I am your host, Frankie Avalon. I'm here with my best friend and co-host, King Ding Dong, and we have a super exciting segment for you tonight. We have four-time regional titleist, 2020 PBA Southwest Player of the Year. We have four-time Team USA member, 10 gold medals with Team USA, 2018 USBC Championship Doubles Eagle winner with Rich Amy, 2015 Collegiate Champion, AJ Chapman. AJ, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited. This will be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and kind of where you're at right now, and how things are going for you.
All right. Obviously, my name is AJ. Thanks to Frankie for introducing me. So
Yes.
It's cool to be here. I'm originally from Manchester, Iowa, a little tiny town in northeast Iowa. Grew up there. My parents are both from there, and then I went to college at Wichita State. Won a national championship. That was really fun. I got some superstars on that team with Francois Lavoie and Mitch Coupe and Matt McNeil and Peggy Hanrahan. So we had a stacked squad. It was really fun. And then after that, I went to Minnesota for a couple of years, ran a pro shop with Matt McNeil and Scott Pohl, and then decided to end up in Dallas. And I've been there for 4 years now, just bowling full time, helping out in the shop at AMF Louisville. So shout out to Josh.
Oh yeah,
so, give a shout out to him. So, but it's been going really good. So bowling full time and hanging out and just kind of doing my thing. That's kind of what it is. But it's been really good.
Right on.
Yeah. So you're also a member of Team Brunswick as well.
Yes.
Correct?
Yep.
How long have you been a member of Team Brunswick?
This is my first full season. Under the Ebonite brand. So I signed a 2-year deal. So I'll be locked in for this year and next year.
Wonderful.
And it's been a really good switch so far. I've been very, very happy with it so far. The first month or two was, kind of getting adjusted because it's not quite getting thrown to the wolves, but a little bit, it's just don't get a lot of time for the balls. We started the season in January.
Right.
I had to switch right away. So it's figuring out the balls, switching layouts, and adjusting to the covers and all the different technology. So getting used to that took, maybe a month. But once I got the layouts tweaked and started seeing the shapes the right way, it was really, really good. And I've been very, very happy with the switch ever since then.
Yeah. So since the switch, do you have like a favorite ball or even line of balls maybe that came out?
The one that stands out the most since switching is definitely the Web Pearl, the Hammer Web Pearl.
Yeah.
Recently discontinued.
The green and
the green and black one.
Mm-hmm.
That's been my kind of go-to ball.
Yep.
I've thrown that one a bunch, but there's been a couple of that stand out too. That one was really good. Goodness, what's the other one? The black and blue knockout was one of the ones that really made me when I in the middle. It was like February, I think mid-February. It was just come out. And that was the ball that saved me, that benchmark shape that really gave me what I needed to, that I could throw on the fresh, later in the blocks. It kind of did all those windows for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And recently, like with the one coming back out and the Game Breaker 2, which were, when I was younger, the one was one of my favorite balls, and the Game Breaker was one of the first really good balls that I had as a versatile benchmark ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
So having those back again have definitely made it really, really sweet. So I'm pretty excited with our new products right now.
So how do you? I know that some of our bowlers are going to want to know this. How does the new Game Breaker 2 compare to the old Game Breaker 2, would you say?
I didn't throw a GB2 because I was on staff with another company during that time, but I did get to throw the original Game Breaker in 14 and 15 pounds. When I first threw it, I was still throwing 14 because I was 12, whatever it was when it came out, because it's been almost 15 years now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that was one of the few balls that I drilled when I went to 15 to keep throwing when I was starting to get more competitive. And I don't see a whole lot of difference. If anything, maybe a touch cleaner. But other than that, I see that same nice, like easy through the fronts, but nice continuous strong arc, banana shape that people want to call it.
Yeah.
It's a really predictable ball motion that I see that everybody can need in their bag.
Yeah, absolutely. So those of you guys out there that love the Game Breaker series from way back in the EBI days, I think you will be happy with that new Game Breaker 2. Is that available now, or is that?
Yeah, it came out Friday.
Okay.
It came out Friday.
So,
it's available now.
You can get that at Bowl Builders Pro Shop from us, or if
AMF Louisville, you want to come see me?
Yeah.
We have a couple of different the bowling shops in Dallas, so you come see us in Louisville, Richardson. Come see us, and we'll take care of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. AJ knows his stuff. Obviously, we've gotten to know each other a little bit better more recently, which is great. And obviously next season the PBA schedule has come out, and PBA League coming back to Bayside. So
I was excited about that.
Always exciting, and hopefully we get to see you back up there for that event. What was your experience this last year with the PBA League being at Bayside Bowl?
Oh, it's always exciting. My first league experience was with, it was here in Bayside in 2019 was my first year in the league, and it was a blast. Like bowling in that environment for the first time is like nothing you've ever experienced before.
Yeah.
You watch the TV shows, you hear what people say, like you hear the rumors of guys that talk. You listen to the bowlers that try to tell you what it's going to be like. Nothing actually shows you what it is until you do it.
For sure.
So getting to do that and then getting to come back. Unfortunately, we had the COVID happen, and we went to Virginia for a year, and it just wasn't the same. So getting to come back last year, getting the bowl at Bayside again was a blast. There's just nothing that quite captures the environment like Bayside does.
For sure. Yeah. No, obviously we would love to get you back up at Bayside. So anyone watching out there, this guy's super talented, one of the best players on the planet. Get him on your team for sure. Absolutely. So shameless plug for AJ, but it's definitely well warranted for sure. So just wanted to let our viewers know that are watching right now. We got more people rolling in, which is great. Please get your comments in here. I have a ticker going across the bottom to send your questions to AJ, and he will read them live, and we'll get him to answer any questions you have within reason, obviously.
Cool.
But
absolutely, yeah.
Things are pretty much wide open on the Frankie and Ding Dong show. There's not much out of bounds here, but for sure. So we actually got to bowl together at the Mega Bucks tournament, which was down in Chicopee, Mass. We bowled together yesterday, and boy, you had a great set. The second squad, I think you shot 1,000 for the 4 games. And, tell people about it a little bit, and boy, you made a great ball switch. That block.
That was pretty cool. It was on the verge of being a blind ball change. I got a couple fill balls, so I was throwing the Rattler, which is like my go-to ball right now. When they're when they're a little softer. That's just been the ball that's really opened the lane up big time for me.
Yep.
So I threw it the first 2 games. I bowled 250, 240. And they're 6-1, I think the pattern is right, something like that.
Right in that ballpark.
Something like that. So it's a
challenge pattern.
It's challenge pattern. Yeah, not quite sport, not quite house. So somewhere in the middle. So scores aren't crazy, but not hard. But so I had 250, 240 with that Rattler, and it was looking really good. And then the next game, I started okay. Made a little physical error, missed a spare. So obviously that's my own fault. And then tried to save the game and missed a move in the 10th kind of thing and bowled 210. But I threw a fill ball with the new 3D attack.
Yeah, boy, not just a great reacting ball, but man, what a great looking ball that is.
Great. The HK22 balls just pop, man.
Yeah,
that cover looks so good, all those balls. Yeah. So that's what I was telling Frankie here. And I was like, we're going to the next game. I'm like, well, knowing, we caught one of the small squads, so there's no automatic qualifier off our squad. I'm like, well, I need to have a big game or it's not going to matter.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I just don't know if I can bowl more than 210. I think the Rattler transitioned out. So I think I need to go to this 3D. He goes, I think you just go for it, man. Sure. And then I ended up, reeling off the front end before a not so friendly 7-pin.
Yeah, you sent a lot of wood at it. I can't believe it didn't go. But
it was a little blower, half 7, whatever kind of thing.
Yeah.
But ended up getting 1,000 out of it and led the squad. And I think I haven't seen all the updates today, but I think high squad so far. But yeah, it was pretty cool. So
it was great.
Switching that ball, it was good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome to watch you. I know we went to that pair, and you're like, well, it's kind of a semi-blind ball switch, and you know your equipment really well. Obviously, you throw the ball really good, so pretty well educated guess I think on that one. So
I got a couple fill balls, and I'm like, it wasn't, obviously many shots thrown, but I'm like, if I'm gonna go, I got to do it now.
For sure, and absolutely.
One of those where the kind of gut call made the right. They made the right switch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So put you in pretty good position for moving on to Sunday, leading your squad. Frankie, you're in a pretty good position.
Pretty good spot, yeah. I led my group for my division for that round. Who knows what's going to happen today and tomorrow? I mean, there's a lot more squads to go. It's going to be basically in the at-large number, depending. Basically throw us all in there. Basically 1 and 8 get in when it gets to that. But AJ's in really good shape in your division, so. We'll see. Hopefully, we're going to go down Sunday and, hopefully give them hell and see what happens. So
Yeah, that'd be great.
Got to give a shout out to El Nino. Didn't he win the sweeper that night too?
Yeah, he tied the first with Brandon Vallone.
Yes, it was.
So we know Brandon quite well from the youth days and everything.
He's moving along, man. His game
for me bowling down there, Purple Hammer was basically the ball of choice for me. I tried a few other things and they didn't look great. I thought the Purple Reactive would look good for a little while, and it just didn't. It was a little too sensitive.
Yeah, it was a little.
The urethane on the left, and the left had a pretty good look. Honestly, to me, I think there should be a decent amount of lefties making the cut, but just how I see it. So, the left definitely felt I don't know if softer is the word, but it just felt like it had a little bit more misroom.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
feel like there's more play.
Yeah, right, a little bit more play,
more
right. So just from my personal observation, which is fine, you know, we got a comment rolling in. Mike Sutton, let's see what Mike has to say. Mike Sutton says, what advice would you give to a high rev rate that needs to change due to medical reasons? I'm having a hard time to dial down the revs. I am also returning after 2 years and dropped ball weight to 14.
Whew, that's a tough question.
Kind of a lot to unpack.
Yeah, there's
there.
a lot. Yeah, there's a lot to unload. I would think that going to 14 would obviously help if you have medical reasons. I'm assuming it's probably a wrist or a finger or a tendon, stuff going on in the hand in general. But I think probably the big thing is letting the thumb come out easier. So my biggest tip too is when I'm coaching and when I'm drilling balls for first time bowlers and stuff, and when they want to really get out of the ball clean, I want them to focus on keeping the thumbnail against the back of the thumb hole. So that helps you not squeeze. And if you don't squeeze, you don't grab. If you don't grab, you don't overturn it.
Yeah.
So there's all those things kind of come together.
Back issues is what he's saying. Yeah, back issues. Yep, that's what he's saying. Yep.
If that's the case, that's probably something else. That's not even more of rev rate. That's probably more of over spine tilt. If I had to guess.
Yeah.
I'd have to probably see a video to really help. But I guess if you're having back issues with the high rev rate, it's probably because you're getting too far forward during your swing, and then when you try to come back up, it's too much down then back up instead of a slow decrease to the foul line.
Now that leads me to a question that you brought up, the video thing. Now you do coaching as well.
Yep.
Do you do any type of video sessions with people for certain fees or anything, or is it more in-person coaching at this point?
I like to do more in-person lessons. Is what I do. I will do video analysis during those videos. Or during those lessons.
Yep.
But I like to do stuff, and it'd be one of those things where I would do. You know, we could set it up to where I do like not StreamYard, but whatever the FaceTime
right,
kind of stuff. Like a live feed video to do lessons.
Yeah.
I would definitely do that if the situation came up. Like if somebody from far enough away would want lessons like that, then that would make that work.
Okay,
But
perfect.
yes,
I just kind of wanted to get into that where you mentioned the video. I didn't know if that was. I know, like some other guys have done that before, and I wasn't sure if that's something that you get into too much.
Yeah, like if somebody sent me a video, I could definitely break it down and give them analysis. But I think they could do to help with that.
Okay,
so sure,
excellent. All right,
that was something I can do.
Well, Mike, good luck with your health issues. We hope you definitely recover okay, and hopefully that helps answer your question a little bit too. So thank you for asking a question. So. Yeah, so the Megabucks tournament, obviously there's squads that went on all day today. We're waiting for updates on scores for that. Hopefully we get some of those soon. And then they have 4 or 5 more squads tomorrow, and then
I think 4 more tomorrow. Yeah.
4 more, yeah. So then hopefully we find out, not too late Saturday night, so we can go to bed and
get some sleep before we head back down.
Because you have a bye, you have to be there early or late. It's about 3.5 hours from here, so we'll figure that all out. So
what time do the squads start on Sunday?
8
a.m.
Yeah. So
the first round. Yeah. That's 8. So.
So that kind of covers a little bit of the Megabucks tournament. We'll just get into some other stuff while AJ's here with us. But our 2022 Bobo Draft League winners was Bowl Hard. That was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Anyone that watched our show, they were. Yeah, they had the Die Hard with McLean going through the thing with the lighter, and they had Bowl Hard on it, and the whole thing was awesome.
That's sweet. That is
they had cool shirts. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
And
nice.
So congratulations to Bowl Hard for winning the title, and they took down who did they bowl in the final match? Ding dong, do you remember? Clifford's balls.
Clifford's
That's what it was.
big red balls. Yeah.
Clifford's big red balls. They had the Clifford with the balls. The big red, the dog with the blood man. Yeah, it was just pretty fun.
Big red.
But it made way more sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
If you have Clifford's balls, they have to be big and red, don't they?
Yeah. So Mike Sutton just commented back. Yes, thank you. I'm changing everything, approach and fundamentals. So all right, Mike,
nice man. Strengthen that core. Get that back build back up, and just watch the forward to back up spine tilt. I think that helped a lot.
Absolutely, that's great advice.
Yeah. Good luck, man.
Del Picard checking in. What's up, boys? Great bowling so far. Thank you, Del. I'll be seeing Del in a few weeks at the Digger Doubles tournament in New York. So
I did see that the oil pattern was just dropped today.
He did. He dropped it today. So I'll share that up tomorrow when I get a chance for sure, just so people can see it. But pretty cool. Yeah. Nice little pattern that you guys developed there. So it's almost looks like a little bit of an asymmetry to it to kind of level up the two sides.
Even sides,
yeah. It was right around 3 to 1.
About 3 to 1, right in that ballpark. So yeah, it's challenging,
Good pattern,
yeah. maybe I'll cross with Pepe again this year and watch him just destroy it like a 265 average. That was amazing last year. When we crossed together,
fun to watch.
he's awesome
Seen
too.
him do that
Great
several
guy,
times.
so.
I can see him in a couple weeks. He's coming down to Houston to bowl the
Oh, is he?
Overrun Regional.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's coming down to Dallas, or not to Dallas, to Houston. Yeah, in 3 weeks. Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
oh,
They
cool.
run. I mean, it's like they run this over under regional, over 50, under 50,
Okay.
member, and it's like the finals on Sunday. It's 10 make the finals, and it's like a national title stop that's under 50 and a senior stop over 50 like at the same time. It's
Wow.
crazy. I mean, it's
No
Ron
kidding.
Moore and Walter Ray, and it doesn't
That's
stop.
awesome.
Yeah.
That
So
is-
it's yeah,
that is wicked
and he's
cool.
coming down to bowl, and it's really really cool. Chris Warren and Chris Barnes, and it's stacked.
Yeah,
it's one of
that's
those events.
awesome.
Like if you want to come watch on Sunday at a regional, this is the
That's the
field
one to
you
go
want
see.
to come
Yeah,
watch. Yeah.
loaded. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're in Houston, it's the third weekend of December. I would
Okay.
come in and check it out. It's
Awesome.
going to be a cool event. Yeah.
Be a good excuse for me to go down and see my wife's dad who lives in Houston.
There
so,
you go.
You know,
That'd
we'll
be
go
a
down
good
and check
window,
it out,
yeah.
So
That'd be a good window.
plus, it's a good time to get out of here when it starts getting cold. So
Yeah, it'll be nice. It'll be a lot nicer in Houston in December than it'll be here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Houston weather stinks, but it'd be nice in December.
In December. Right? Dell says the beer and
December.
pizza will be great. I can't wait. The Fazios is going to be on my list. Tony McMillan checking in with AJ. I've been medaling anywhere from a 450 to a 700 series in league, almost week to week, not knowing what I'm going to bring. After a few bad frames, I start to press and overexert myself. Do you have any recommendations on how to deal with the swings mentally? Thanks in advance.
Oh, I mean, bowling is one of those. It's one of those games that it's way more important to be sharp mentally than physically. So, my biggest recommendation when I have questions like this that involve a mental game is there's a book that helped me a lot when I was 18, 19. I think I was a freshman in college. Actually, it was when I first got to Wichita, and one of the first books I read that stuck with me. It's called The Inner Game of Tennis.
Okay.
And there's 2 chapters in there that don't involve to anything involving us, but everything else is about mental game. It's about your conscious mind and your subconscious mind.
Okay.
And it's about your subconscious mind listening to every single thing that your conscious mind tells it, whether it's positive,
Mhm.
whether it's negative, it
Right.
believes it. It has no choice but to believe it.
Right.
So if you start understanding that and talking to yourself
Mhm.
the way that you talk to other people,
Yep.
or the way that you want to talk to yourself, it makes a drastic change on how you handle and deal with adversity with situations like this.
Absolutely.
So I definitely recommend Inner Game of Tennis. You can find it anywhere. There's lots of really, really good info. But other than that, man, it's bowling is one of those sports where it's really tough. Like coming from someone that does it for a living,
Right.
it's really easy to get pressed and to want it and to feel like you need it so bad. But at the end of the day, it's like if it's just what you do for fun,
Mhm.
let it be fun.
Right.
Don't press. Don't stress yourself. If you truly enjoy it, then it's going to be fun going into the next shot too. But
For sure.
yeah,
That's great advice. Really great advice. So definitely
Yeah,
check out that
absolutely.
book. I
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
I'll even check that book
yeah.
out because
Inner Game of Tennis. That's my personal favorite. It's awesome. Awesome.
That's
That's a great
great.
book.
You know, as bowlers, like you said, there's so much time, a lot of times in between shots, to just think and overthink.
Oh, that's the hardest part.
It is. It's not like, where football, it's like go, 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 or some other sports where it's always, bowling, there's just, you have to ramp it up now, and then you just sit and you're waiting, and there's so much time for your brain to just go all kinds of bad places or good places or wherever it wants to go.
Yeah.
And as an independent contractor, which is basically what you are as a
Yep.
professional,
Yep.
that can be
Yeah.
tough, but that's great advice. Really great advice.
That's exactly the way to describe it. Because I'm like, if you're a quarterback, you throw a pick, there is not 2 seconds where you're like, boom, tackle that guy, get in, like no matter what. But
Yeah.
in bowling, you throw a bad shot, you big 4, you got 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes, deal with it.
Just right.
Figure it out.
Yep.
How you gonna throw the next shot?
Absolutely.
I'm like, how do I deal with that? How do I accept that?
Right.
So it's accepting it, moving on, separating the shot, and then getting up there and bowling again.
Very good. Great advice.
Yeah.
So, so Dell also asks, in our lineup with the Brands of Brunswick, what is your most versatile ball?
Versatile ball. Tough question. Lots of bowling balls.
Lots of, yeah, for sure. I would put it this way: for me, like if you had a ball in your hand, like to win $100,000, what's the one ball you're going to grab that you would have the most confidence in?
That's probably the web.
Okay.
Overall.
Yep.
Overall, since switching, it's been the web, but right now it's probably the Rattler.
The Rattler.
The Rattler. That's been like,
Yep.
whether it's a house shot, whether it's a sport shot, whether it's short, whether it's longer,
Mm-hmm.
that's the one that makes me go like, boom, I got it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Web for longevity and Rattler for versatility. I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
So you're not on the Purple Hammer bus that everyone's on? Or
I mean, I like the purple one.
one.
Obviously, it's the best urethane ball that's ever seen the earth. But
Yeah.
Right.
but it's still way more conditional than a really good reactive ball,
Sure.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like like it's made careers. It's not a thing that's not true. It really has, and that's okay because the ball's that good.
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna pick one, like there's probably on 33 to 41 feet, there's a good chance it's a purple. If it's any longer than that, it's not a chance.
Right.
So if I'm gonna pick one that I know I can throw when they are 35 feet, but they are 45 feet, then I'm gonna take that route every time right now.
Yeah.
At this moment, that's right now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So since the switchover, since Brunswick acquired all of the EBI brands and whatnot, my personal favorite ball was the Web Tour Hybrid, actually.
Okay,
so,
nice.
Yeah.
Anything that says web, I like the dark web a lot too. So anything that says web is definitely something that.
Because that Web MB was real good.
Yep, it was. It's a little asymmetry in it too. That ball was good. Yeah. Just like that. It's just that right amount of like the middle RG, middle diff, right cover. Boom. It just does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like it's
I
exactly as it's advertised, which is what makes me think like I want to go back, keep making them.
Right.
So the guy that Brunswick keep making the whips.
Right.
Don't make them go away.
And we know the Black Widows, the popularity is huge on there, and it kind of makes the webs kind of sleepers, you know?
Oh, for sure.
And in my personal opinion, I think the webs outshine the Black Widows performance-wise.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird that the Black Widow takes all of this popularity over the web.
Yeah. Maybe longevity thing.
It is. It's been around so long, and
2006.
Yeah, because you had the original, the Red Pearl, and Widows were the first two that come out.
Yeah, I mean, all the bite, the venom, the sting, all those ones.
Yeah, don't get me
wrong.
wrong.
Phenomenal line.
Yeah, it's been great.
The Ghost is really good, but for me, the Ghost is a little more condition specific because it's a little
faster cover stock.
Yeah,
sure. More sensitive to oil and friction.
The 2.0 was pretty good though for us.
The 2.0 is
really good. They did a really good job. Like obviously being poured in a different plant,
right,
with different materials, or as close as they can get.
You're
right,
close,
so it's
right?
not quite the same, but remaking in a way that one in a different plant and getting that close.
Yeah,
that's pretty sweet. That one was really good. Yeah.
So while we're on the topic of old balls, you mentioned the one. How about that new one with all this differential, all this asymmetry in it? Is it something that we like? Because we see a lot of friction in the front. We get all that sand and salt, like you probably did in Iowa during the winters.
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure.
Creating all that friction in the front of the panels of the lane.
Yep.
Now, is this a viable ball for us to be able to use up here? Or, is it really strong? Like some of the old balls that had a huge core, huge cover would roll instantly and just kind of be like a dead weight,
Yeah, kind of an anchor kind of
thing. So have you used the one, and do you find it versatile enough to be able to use on stuff like we may be bowling up here?
The big thing, like if you look at that ball on paper, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, be honest. It's gigantic, gigantic core, super low RG, super high diff, super high intermediate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, what are they going to put on that? Let's put a really strong, solid cover, but then polish it.
Right.
So that's a lot of things that are a little confusing. Like this, that, and this, and that. I'm like,
yeah.
But when I went up and I did the video right away, and I drilled a pin up one, drilled a pin down one, and I threw 3 practice shots with each, and I bowled back-to-back games. I bowled 269, 300 back-to-back games with a pin down one and a pin up one. And I'm like, this ball does everything right for it looking strange on paper.
Yeah.
It's way more versatile than what you think. And that's sometimes how it works. There's bowling balls that make so much sense and they roll terrible. It's like, this should be right? Like you drill one, it's like this. It's got this.
The numbers look right.
This looks right. It's got the cover.
Yeah.
I drove it with the right pin. It doesn't do what I want it to do.
Right.
And there's balls where you're like, well, I'm just gonna drill one because I need to drill one.
Right.
And it's like, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. Wow, this rolls so good.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not that extreme, but it's in that window. And when I was, I drilled the first one when I was 13 or 14, whatever it was. But so I didn't look at the numbers. They're obviously the same now. But that ball was great, and I didn't know any better, so it just rolled good.
Yeah.
So when I looked at it again and I drilled it, I was like, this thing rolls awesome. Then I look at the numbers in the cover, and I'm like, oh, that's not what I would expect to see.
Right.
When I see that shape.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
for sure.
But I think when they put when they put the polish on that strong, solid cover, it evened out that really big diff and intermediate diff. So it does make it more versatile. It's one of those balls that I would think is really good for high rev rate guys that maybe aren't speed dominant.
Yeah.
Or if people want to stay straighter and get a stronger ball that doesn't burn up.
Yeah.
So I do think that it's one of those really, really versatile ASIM balls that you wouldn't think so on paper.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it's one of those balls that's going to be really, really good. And I brought one with me.
Yeah.
This weekend,
I remember it was in your bag. Yeah, for sure.
And it was really, really close. There was just a tiny bit too much friction. I wanted to throw it on the burn squad, but it was the burn, so it was a little too much to run.
Yeah.
Right.
I think if I would switch to it sooner on the fresh squad, it would have been the right ball.
Yeah.
So we have more questions coming in. Just a few comments first. Mike says he loves his rattler. That's good.
Yeah, awesome ball.
Yeah,
Very,
Randy
very
Plummer
good.
says the CUDA is very versatile. I got a CUDA on the rack behind you.
Yep.
CUDA is very versatile. I actually polished mine, and that thing is pretty clean now.
Yeah, really, really good too. I'm a fan of that one too.
Yeah,
That's
that was a good ball.
That one I had to pick between my GB2 and my Kudu when I came here.
Yeah.
They're similar, but they're both really good. If I could take 9 balls, 10 balls, they're both coming. They're both coming.
So Dell has another question real quick. I noticed you use a lot of pins above or below your middle finger. He was just curious what your path is.
So I've been back and forth a couple times last year, and I've got my hand where I want it to be now. And now my path is 3 3/4 over by 1.5 inches up.
Yep.
So the pins that are over my middle that look weak, they're really not weak.
Right.
They're only 4.5, 4 3/4 inch pins. Yep. So they're still strong or medium to most people. Yep. But I have to go that way because of how much I've gotten myself to get under it now.
Yep.
So when they look weak, they're really not weak. But so I have to go that way. So it might look over. That's why it's important to know your path too, because if it looks over your ring, might be over my middle. It might be the same layout.
Absolutely.
So,
But
3 3/4 by 1.5 inches.
Yeah, it's like like so Ding Dong and I like to do. We'll drill the same ball, drill the same layouts, and it's funny just because our paths obviously are totally different.
Sure.
So when people look at it, mine might be here, and it's a righty, his is way over here. But it's because again, it's for each bowler's path, and when you lay them out the same, they're not going to look the same. So that's very important. Obviously, in the pro shop industry and as a professional. Updating that path is very key, especially anytime you make any changes, pitch changes, you name it, whatever it is, that's going to change that path possibly significantly.
Yeah, I get a lot of questions too asking like, how can we drill so many negative pins? Like, negative is a very, very wrong word.
It is. Yes, I agree. Yes.
So like, what's
past the center line, basically.
That's what they think it means, right? But it's not.
Yeah.
It's not negative. It's just off your PAP. So it's important. So it's like. There could be a guy with the super long, if he's got a 6.5 inch bat and his pin's up and right at his ring finger and it's a 4 inch pin. And I draw mine at 4 inches and it's at my bridge. And it's like, well, how come yours is negative and his is super strong? I'm like, that's the same layout. Well, no, it's not. No, that's why you got to know your PAP.
Absolutely.
It's
super,
very,
super
very
important. Yeah.
So if you don't know it, go see your pro shop guy and get your bat measured.
Update it for sure.
Yes. Go measure it.
It's no longer the days of just a little bit of side weight or anything like that.
Or pin at 130 or pin it,
Oh, especially with no weight holes now too.
Yeah,
that makes even a bigger difference. Yeah. So pins are even that much more important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The days of the pancake weight block are way gone, guys.
They're big time. They were done for good. Yeah.
Del Picard had mentioned the OG Web Tour we need back.
The original Web Tour was fantastic. I think that might be one of those ones that might sneak back in. I would hope so.
Mike Sutton just checking in after watching John Kirker. Shout out to John, amazing bowler himself.
Yeah.
Throwing the attitude control. I bought one. What is the difference between the purple hammer and the attitude control, and when is the right time to throw urethane? As I have never thrown one before.
Ooh, another tough question. The difference is very, very similar cover across the brands, but there's way more differential in the control. So I think there's in 15, the diff and the control is 0.47. Yeah. And I think the purple's 0.22. 28 or 27, something like that. Yeah. Either way, 15 points, 20 points. Yeah, exactly. So what I see, I do like the control a lot. It does roll good. So what I did, I actually drilled that one like with an 1.5 inch weaker pin. So it still flares 3 inches maybe, but it's like in my purple's probably 1.5 inches at the most if I'm throwing it slow. And so the purple for me is cleaner and stores more. So the control flares out, so it uses more of that core. It covers more of the cover.
Sure.
So it hooks earlier and ends up being a little smoother for me. But the big time, the hard question there is to when to throw it. That's the tough question.
That's a tough question.
Yeah. Especially if you've never thrown it before. don't throw it on the house shot.
No.
That's the
we
big
had that
thing.
conversation yesterday.
Yes, we talked about it. There's
Especially now when you have surface on it.
oh yeah, there
If
is.
you shine that thing and you got a bunch of rev rate and a bunch of
Yeah.
maybe.
If you need to keep it in the lane, then maybe. But there's unfortunately urethane has swept the market very, very big time recently.
Yeah.
So a lot of league bowlers and people that watch TV and watch YouTube videos, they see these urethane balls and they go, dude, I gotta have one.
Yeah.
I gotta have one.
Yeah.
And they throw in the league. And it's tough because all they do is make it harder on themselves and make it harder on everybody else.
For
like,
sure.
These league patterns are built for reactive balls.
Absolutely.
They're built for the ball to see the lane all the way, not like urethane balls are meant for when they're short and high volume in the front.
Absolutely.
Like people think that's a weird misconception too. Is that people think that urethane balls hook less. Like I want a dry lane ball, I need a urethane ball. That's the opposite of what you need.
Right, absolutely.
Opposite,
I tell people the same thing.
Yes, it's a tough thing. People come in like I want a weak ball. My ball's hooking too much. I want to get a purple hammer. I want to get one of those balls. I'm like, is your ball hooking too much or too early or too late? And they go, well, it's breaking too hard in the end. I'm like, well, that's like a urethane ball is going to get offline so quick when they're dry. It's not going to be the right answer.
Right.
That ain't going to fix it.
Right.
They want volume. Exactly.
Yeah.
They're gonna flat 10, 8-10.
Yep.
All the wrong thing. So when to throw it is when there's volume in the front, and when they're fairly flat and you want to not play safe, but when you want to control the back end.
Right.
That's what I
For
would
sure.
use.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
When they're
That's a great
flatter,
answer.
you want to control the back end. That's what I think is when to throw them.
Yeah, for sure.
I would
mean, it's the best
have
way to
when
describe
they're
it.
flatter too, so that way you don't have kitty litter. Because the urethane ball, like once it sees that friction, it's going to water roll, and then it's done.
Super early.
Yeah.
And then bail. Yep.
And then you go to like the attitude control that flares a little bit more. Even though it flares, it's still
It almost is even harder. Actually,
and then once it gets to the pins, it's going to hit like a wet noodle, and that's an insult to wet noodles sometimes.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I was a little bit late. Like I was a little bit resistant to the urethane thing. I really didn't want to. Like I was a resin guy. I'm always gonna be a resin guy.
He's a lefty. What's he thinking?
Right. Well, that was just it. And then once I got into using the urethane, we bought a lot of sport patterns.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wait a minute, my misrun went from this to this.
Yeah. What have I been missing? This
Right.
much.
Like
this
right,
much
I've
is
been
the
missing
answer.
about 4 boards of room.
That's the
So
answer,
that was a big deal.
Cool.
So as you can see, the sign behind you as of yesterday, days since Frankie stopped using urethane, still 0. So you'll never ever see me throw it on a house shot. I can guarantee you that. Never.
So guys out there, please don't throw a house shot.
Yeah.
And I'm a lefty who loves. I mean, I have I don't know what 4 purple hammers that I throw on occasion. And, so
I got 4 room, 2 controls, and
I got the control down there on the rack. I mean, I got a
what's
double cross.
What's the radical double cross?
Double cross.
Too. Like I got
another.
I got 8 urethane balls, but you will never ever see me throw on a house shot.
I mean, I think the key statement there, Frankie, as you said, was you bowl on a lot of sports stuff.
Right, and that's again because it's the it's squashed out to the edges a little more. It gives me a little bit more actually front kind of hook outside.
Yeah,
it helps. You know what I mean with that. So more volume on the outside part of the lane. It definitely helps with the urethane on the shorter, heavier.
where you don't have the autocorrect
Right.
of your house shot.
For me.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yep.
Yeah. Scott, Flatline checking in. Have AJ come up with the next FTDS pattern.
I can help with that.
Yeah.
I can help with that. Yeah.
We're always down for an idea.
Absolutely. I would love to.
He's seen some of our patterns. So
yeah. And I grew
We're
up.
always building.
I grew up in a center. My dad had 3 centers at one point, and we had one for the majority until after I went to college. So I had access to the lane machine all the time, and I had a computer. I built patterns.
Very good.
Did all kinds of crazy shit, for lack of a better term.
Trust me, if you help us come up with a pattern, we'll definitely get your name on it. And it will go in our pattern library, which is downloadable, actually. We have a folder that people, if you have an on-boy old machine,
I'm going to call it AJ's Nightmare.
Perfect. Whatever you want to call it, we'll make it happen.
The uglier the better.
Yes. So I can make them.
You should see some of the ones we have in waiting that we haven't used yet. So,
More volume down lane than the front. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, we did that last one. We did more volume down lane. We did a reverse Christmas tree, and then it was this way, and then like this.
Yeah.
So.
Start with the bowl, go up, and then it goes up down the lane. It's like the second half of like a God dang it, like a not skating rink, like a
half pipe,
like not a half pipe, but like a bowl.
Oh yeah,
it's like a skate bowl, like a long like tube skate bowl. That's up, and it comes up together. Yeah, it's just a half. It starts in the middle. There's nothing in the front.
So like New Orleans.
Oh,
So piggybacking on that, Jim Griffin comments, AJ, do you think the PBA Tour will ever adopt one of the FTDS
Oh,
patterns?
hell
No.
No.
Which one would you like to bowl
No,
on
they need
tour?
something that needs a spot to score on.
Oh no, the one day you'll see it is like the day 2 at the U.S. Open. That's the best chance you get.
Oh, perfect. Tom, if you're watching,
Yeah.
come see us.
Yeah, they put the U.S. Open. USBC does a good job since they changed it to 4 patterns.
Yeah.
One of the qualifying patterns the first 3 days has since they changed that to that they used a 1-to-1 pattern every year, and it's been 37, 48, 37, 41 feet I think ever since then.
Yeah.
But the 37-foot pattern in Lincoln at a high friction surface with a gutter as an hook was miserable.
Sounds terrible already.
Yeah. I started the day after 2 days. I was in 13th, 15th, something like that. And after 2 spots before I bowled, I was in 6th. I missed the cut.
Wow.
I missed the cut. It's the top 32.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. They were brutal.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Wow.
I was to a point where I was about to throw the straight balls in the
You were like that to just.
No, they were like, and we bowled on the exact same pattern in Wichita.
Yep.
2 years before.
Yep.
At a center where the gutter was better. I bowled 170 over.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I bowled
amazing.
200
Lane surface makes
240 under something like that. Yeah, they were gross.
Wow.
But
so that kind of piggybacks. So like you were talking about day 2 U.S. Open, we did last year. We did a long and a short event tournament where the left lane
fire
was,
nice.
Yeah, it was left lane was 30-foot 1-to-1. The right lane was 50-foot 1-to-1.
Oof.
30. What
God,
was it?
sounds
33 mils.
Yes.
33
And
mils.
25
And
mils.
25 mils on the short.
Yeah.
1-to-1
Oh.
dead flat, both of them 30 and 50.
That's
That
how
50. I don't
someone-
care what you did on the 50.
Yeah.
Nothing would hurt. It was just
Oh.
wiggle city. It was
Yep.
unbelievable. It was gross and awesome. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like balls.
that sounds
That's
like a day 2 U.S. Open.
That's like that snowman doubles thing I was telling you about.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Right. Exactly.
Hand
Yeah.
oiled 50 feet. Last year was like 70 mils.
Wow.
Oh,
nice.
dude, I mean, it
Oh.
did not matter, dude. They
Yeah.
went straight every time.
Yeah.
And we bowled all day. And by the end of the day, like it's hooking in the front and goes,
Yeah.
I can
Stand up and
oh, I can show you a video where I'm like, I'm going
Stand
for
up and
like,
wave.
I'm going like trying to go 30 to like 8, and it hooks when it lands. It locks up 20 and never goes right at that.
yeah.
It
Just stays right there.
It goes left either. It just goes straight. Like it's insane, and that's an awesome tournament too.
Yeah.
So
Tony McMillan says death miss. That's what they should put
Death
out.
miss,
I'm in
yeah.
for that. That was our
Yes.
reverse Christmas tree pattern.
oh yeah,
Flattened out a 1.4 to 1.
mm-hmm.
Went more,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
basically buff in the front and then just
Yeah.
a boatload of oil in the back. It
yeah.
great.
That was actually the pattern we won nationals on in 2015 in college. It was
Oh,
it was a
really?
38-foot pattern. It was 1-to-1 from like 8 to 38 feet,
Yep.
and there was a reverse Christmas tree shape
Yeah.
in the front going out up into those 8 or 10 feet.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I'll see
they
it.
were disgusting.
They're
Like,
right.
they were
That's perfect.
brutal.
I love
Yeah.
hearing disgusting.
Oh, we won the first game on the TV show like 160 to 120.
Wow.
Seriously, it was
Well,
yeah.
And
We
we're
will
talking
better after
like,
that, but
yeah,
yes,
We increased the volume as you went towards the back of the pattern.
that's awesome.
yeah.
There was
Oh,
more
yeah.
ball returns that night than there's
Oh, I
ever
bet,
been
yeah,
in
the
history.
oil
of-
Yeah.
stress
Oh, yeah.
I
It was
bet,
all
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It got worse
It
and
was
worse.
Oh,
as
that's
they went
awesome.
Bucky came in hot with one of our best comments ever. Is something like, "No one else makes patterns that make even the winner want to cry after."
Right, yeah.
Normally it's like
Oh.
this. I could have done one of these 2 or 3 things better, but I still won. But it's like I don't want
on.
to.
No, I
Mama! Frankie and Ding Dong did it to me again.
yeah.
I won. I want to go home.
Anytime you have people not finishing the day, it's a good time.
Oh God.
So we had Flatline said you have to bowl on one of those patterns with us with a 75-pin deficit to start.
I'll give you 25 we can bowl.
All right,
Yeah,
sold.
show up. Yeah. Show up. We'll block him. You tell me which one.
There we go. Perfect.
I'll give
All
you
right.
pins. Let's go.
So we're just going to cover a few other things while AJ's still here with us. Carl's World Tour 42-foot Norwegian pattern tournament on December 4th. Entries are open. He might be full. He might be going to a waiting list. $1,000 first place for that. Don't forget. One lane courtesy, obviously the usual stuff. Here's the email address. Call the front desk at gmail.com. Still one of my favorite email addresses ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Call the front desk.
Call the front desk.
That's awesome. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
We also want to thank Brunswick Bowling for sponsoring all the Carl's events and all the Frankie and Ding Dong events this year. Really step up big like they do every year. And thank you to Bowl Builders Pro Shops, where we both work, for sponsoring free drilling for all the winning raffle balls. So we also really appreciate that.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very cool. Nice. Yeah.
Definitely it makes it nice for the bowlers, And then, hey, while you're there, buy some get some shoes, get a bag, get some whatever you want. We can hook you up.
We'll make it work. Yeah, that's really cool. That's cool.
Yep.
Don't forget on 12/2/2022 is the release day for the Radical Bigfoot Hybrid, the track sensor, DV8 Brutal Collision, all available for pre-order at Bowler Builders Pro Shop. And I'm sure that where you work,
Yep. Amen for Louisville. Yep. And Louisville, Texas, North Dallas.
Yep.
So come see me or Josh, and we'll take care of you.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Out of those 3 balls, have you thrown all 3 of those? I know the Bigfoot Hybrid, I drilled 2 of them. I was so excited for it. I love that ball.
So I drilled a Bigfoot and a Collision, but I didn't drill a sensor.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But I've thrown the Bigfoot twice exclusively in the league, and I bowled 760 and 770.
All right, shake it off. Get them
So,
next time.
yeah. And then I've thrown the Collision twice in the league to start because it's strong.
Yeah.
And I've thrown a game 1 both times and bowled 279 both times.
So there you go.
So
there you go. That's not a bad endorsement there at all.
yeah.
So
If you want to try HK22, stop waiting.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That HK22 is phenomenal.
Do it.
All right, and just let everyone know that FDDS Pattern Library is
Amazing.
available for your machines. We stream all the events, the Carl's events, our events, any of the other stuff at Bayside. Like my favorite thing last season was when I went in and we were covering the B Division finals. Now the B Division's the lower average division at Bayside.
Okay, sure.
Yep.
And so I go over and we're setting everything up, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "What do you mean? What am I doing here? We're streaming the finals." So they're like, "You're gonna like record our bowling?" Like they thought it was the coolest thing ever.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, everyone here deserves
to be
it.
in there.
So like people are texting like their wives or husbands at home or whoever's not there, like, "Hey, check it out online." Like these guys are.
Tune in. It's gonna be cool.
And it was great, and that's the stuff that we love to do. Like giving back to bowling that way, so that people can be recognized for what they're doing. It doesn't matter B Division, A Division, whatever we can cover, we're going to cover it.
Yeah,
So
that's really cool. That's really
Those
cool.
are the guys that aren't at BOPO. The B division is just the lower average
Right.
bowlers.
Yeah, right.
But still, they're bowling for a banner.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
They're
bowling
bowling
for a
in.
banner.
Yeah, they're bowling in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is
100%.
important stuff. Bowling history, really.
Right.
They get a
Absolutely.
banner on the wall, just like
Exactly.
they
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's just like we bowl in leagues that have divisions. What you want to call it, A or B or varsity or JV
Yep.
or scratch handicap, doesn't matter. You win, you win.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
important. It's tough for a lot of people to understand that winning is winning without complaining, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in this industry, there is a lot of people like to complain
Yeah.
or take things away from people that win.
Yeah.
And it's like, let them have it.
Right.
Like,
Absolutely.
this is such a like you're mad this guy, he gets one more pin than he's supposed to and he won by 20. And you're saying, well, he got one more extra pin. He won by 20. Give him his credit.
Absolutely. 100%.
And it's like it's been tough recently to watch people on social media just beat down other bowlers.
It's true.
Recently.
Yeah.
It's just
it is. It's,
like
it's
we
bad.
are a very, very small industry. Like bowling is globally, it's gigantic, but as a competitive group of individuals, bowling is very, very small compared to everything else.
Yep.
Yeah.
So growing the sport is only as influential as everybody is to influencing people around them.
For sure.
So the more you beat people down, the more it takes away from what bowling is supposed to stand for.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
like if you really love bowling as much as you want to, then promote it, support it, and be there. Don't take away from other people's accomplishments just because you didn't win that day.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. We definitely need to lift each other up as much as possible, which is, another reason that's great bowling at Bayside because everyone's scratched. That's why there's different divisions. It's cool. Everyone has a good time. And, tournaments are obviously a serious time. And when you bowl league there, everyone's just having a good time, having a few cocktails,
Sure.
and cheering each other on. And that's great. Even when we bowl our other leagues, we bowl at another league that's a more competitive, bigger men's league and stuff. And, we're cheering for the other guys. And we had a team that we bowled last week who was like, we're just not used to people like rooting for us. Like,
Right.
like they thought it was weird. And I'm like, well, it shouldn't be weird.
Been there
Like,
too.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be weird. Like,
Yeah, giving high fives to our team. They're like hesitant. I'm like, no, man, like we're bowling. If you threw a good shot, I'm gonna give you a high five for throwing a good shot. Like that's good sportsmanship. That's what it's supposed to be. Like,
all right. So just quick, don't forget the missed FTDS Carl Series titles. I have archived online right now. 132 titles so far in the books. Like I started missed back in 2009. Was told that scratch bowling in the state was dead by the person that was running the scratch series at the time. I said, let me take it over. He says, go ahead. Good luck. He said, if you put sports shots out, you'll never get an entry in your tournaments. It has to be a house shot. No one's going to show up. I started from sports shots basically almost from day one. And it just grew from there and just went crazy. And it's awesome. Love it. So it shows that we try to run something that's pretty good, competitive, and fair to the bowlers. They show up. And, that's what we try to do. So
So I have a question. You mentioned a little bit about social media, and so at Bayside we've taken a lot of flack. So, and I don't want you to speak for everyone, but I just want your perception on it. Like online, and especially in the early years at Bayside, we took a lot of flack for when you guys came up, the professionals. By you guys, I mean the professionals.
Yep.
And we're loud. We're cheering for you. It's like we're going to a professional football, basketball game, showing you guys appreciation, being loud, not being the traditional maybe crowd that blow in the scene.
Sure.
Now, we took a lot of flack for that online.
Yeah.
Now, you being one of these bowlers, now I've been in the position, Frankie, you've been there too, with everyone, the crowd cheering behind you. So I know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I would like for you to tell them about your perception of it. And do you hate it as much as these traditionalists online, or do you actually like it better than when you go and, you know, maybe you can hear a pin drop as you're throwing the ball? And yes, they do get loud and cheer when you strike or whatever. But would you rather have the crowd being completely intense the whole time? What do you find easier?
Or does it depend on
what
the
do you
environment?
find
Maybe like
better?
the tournament.
God,
Doesn't vary.
what's so funny about that is that you bring up a really, really good point. That all these traditionalists get mad at the volume and the yelling and the excitement, and they're mad over this. I'm like, what about the 5 to 8 years in the 90s where they promoted yelling while they were bowling?
I remember that.
All of them were fine with that. They're all traditionalists.
I remember that.
You know, none of them now are still cheering.
Yeah.
Same thing. So they changed their mind. They did something different. No,
Yeah.
that's not. You can't.
Right.
You don't get to be on both sides. That's not fair. That's not allowed. That's not okay.
Yeah.
So if they want to they want to yell and be whatever and be, you know, full of shit on social media.
Right.
Like that's their choice.
Right.
And I think they're, for lack of a better term, they're done for it.
Right.
Because they were okay with it at one point.
Yeah.
They all did it. If you were a fan of bowling in the 90s and you're still watching, you did both those things. Like you don't get to say that, why I didn't do that. I didn't do that the whole time. Like, yes, you did. There's no chance.
Right.
But in my opinion, I think it's great. I think it's cool. I think every other sport on the planet, you have fans yelling and screaming and being intense and being okay.
The whole time.
The whole time.
You're shooting a foul shot that could be winning the game.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you
You
got
got
people
people on the
waving shit
fence.
right
They're trying to say,
distract
you suck, you can't
right.
make this. Like, yeah.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, there was like one. I didn't know who it was. There was a random guy like on the show, like we're in the league this year, and it was after the shot that I stoned it, and it was a huge momentum swing in our game. And I came back, and I'm like, he was like, that was a good shot. And I gave him and the approach. He was like, well, you could make this. You might miss it though. I don't know. And I bowled.
Yeah,
it was
right,
like I heard that.
You heard it, but
I heard it from right here.
Right.
on the approach. He's
Right.
right here. I'm like,
you're like 5 feet away, literally.
I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, did he just say that? Like,
Right.
did that
It
just
takes you a second, right?
happen? I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like this is a sporting bet. Boom, and I made it.
But-
and I turned around, I was like, oh, I don't make it, but
You also think about what people want to watch. A good example is golf, which is another sport where people are traditionally quiet and stuff. What tournament do people love watching or being at? The Waste Management Open. Why? Because the crowd is freaking nuts the whole time.
Yeah.
And you know the players are digging it. They're loving it.
oh yeah, because if I came back from that shot and I made like a loud response, whatever, he would have loved it. The crowd would have loved it. And it was the whole thing was to feed the environment.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I love.
And you can have that back and forth with a fan like
Oh, yeah,
that
it
in
was
that
great.
environment.
Like, yeah,
everyone thinks it's great.
Like, I don't know, like it wasn't. I mean, it was personal for Portland. So
Right.
that's how I know it was personal. He's like, you can make it, you can miss it, but you can make it. And I was like,
We love them.
I mean, I could, but I'm gonna make it. But
I'm gonna
yes. But yes. Even with that, like that's still cool. I like that thing. It's like because every other sporting event, like you know, there's a guy if you're there, watching the Iowa Nebraska game tonight. Like if you're the one on the yard line and you're the opposing fan, you are screaming in the end zone to distract them as much as you possibly can.
Absolutely.
And it's like that's just called part of the game. One of the big things about I've been an Iowa fan forever. We have been tough to beat at home at night games because we're so loud.
Yeah.
The stadium is built so steep that it feels like they're on top of you. When we beat Penn State last year when it was a 2-3 matchup, they had 3 consecutive false starts because our crowd was so loud. They couldn't hear the snap. They couldn't hear the snap.
Yeah.
So that's part of the game.
Yeah.
Like it's part of what happens.
And it makes people want to be part of that experience. Like as an
yeah,
Iowa fan, you want to be in that stadium.
I want to be banging on the sideboards, doing all that. Yeah,
I get it.
So as part of bowling, like it's important as you as an athlete to be able to tune that out or fuel it to your advantage.
Absolutely, right.
So I think the traditionalists can, have their cake and eat it too, and go sit in their chair and be okay with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because no matter what they do, they're going to watch regardless. Because they act like they're not going to. That's what's
right. But then they know all the information about what happened on the show.
That's
that's obviously you're watching.
Yeah, but they're like they talk all this shit on social media. Right. They do all this, comment on a post, negative. This is stupid. This is dumb. I'm not watching this. I'm not watching this. And then guess what? Next week they comment. I'm not watching this again. Watch the next show. I'm not watching this again. Guess they're doing watching it every single time.
Yeah. Right, because it's good. It's good entertainment,
It is really
no matter how much they don't like it, they're gonna keep tuning in.
Right,
and it makes it more like any other sport. And so for me, being in the environment, you kind of feed off of that feeling of just the jazz, the energy in the room.
And sometimes you have to jack yourself back down a few notches because you can, just rifle one past the head in because you're too amped up or
the
you're
crowd gets you all much or crazy.
And that's what's great about the league too. Is like you get up there, you boom, you strike, you get pumped, you get to do it. You got 4 frames to cool off, and you're good to go.
Yeah,
that's the best part. If you're ever gonna do it now.
Yeah.
So that's why people go like you got Jesper, who's the quietest guy ever.
Right.
He goes nuts during the league because he's got 4 frames to cool back down to earth.
So he knows he's got that time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So there you go. Bowlers' perception from an actual professional that has bowled in the Bayside environment. They feed off of this. They love it. We treat them like actual athletes. And so you traditionalists, now I know where you're coming from. Don't get me wrong. I know where you're coming from. However, we just have a different vibe. That's why I think that you guys as professionals love coming up here because we do making it a real event. Not to say that at the other events, not to put anything down on them, but we make it exciting up here in Bayside because we're excited to see you guys up here.
100%.
We obviously love bowling. I think it's great for the game because, the energy that it brings to the game, get some new players in here. And as a bowler, I think it's easier when you have the crowd being raucous and loud and behind you because you don't have that, random noise that could happen.
That could jar you or whatever,
and so I think it's easier to get
Big
in
time.
your zone.
You zone them out instead of having to be like, okay, tune them
worry
out.
about everything.
Right.
Zone them out instead of tuning them out because there's a big difference. There's a big
difference.
difference. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
You tunnel vision, you're great. You tunnel vision while there's silence and somebody makes a noise, it goes.
Right. No, all of a sudden that's the one thing.
If there's constant noise,
you hear the squeak of the ball return wheel or something.
It's
absolutely.
what is that? Yeah.
Yep. I know we're getting close to the end of the broadcast here, but Scott Nevers, Flatline, had another question. Dumb question: the difference between a 1-to-1 pattern ratio versus whatever else. What's a house shot ratio? Explain like I'm 5, please. I hear it a lot, and it goes in one ear and out the other.
Okay, so the average house shot's like 12 to 18 to 1.
Yep.
So basically, that means there's one unit, what would you call it? 1 unit of oil on the one board. In the middle, there's 12 to 18 units of oil. So it's thick in the middle and dry on the outside. Then it goes back down.
Right.
So on a 1-to-1, it's 1-to-1, 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 1-to-1.
Right.
I'm saying flat across the lane.
Right.
So, but if it's 12 to 15 to 1, it goes 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And in the middle, it's 18.
Right.
So it's the biggest drastic amount of ratio you could get.
Right.
So it means you have oil in the middle and hook to the outside. So you have hold in and hook out.
Right.
So that's as simple as I can put it.
Yep.
But yeah.
I mean, that's basically it.
Yep.
The higher the ratio, obviously, the more hold you have in the center of the lane. The drier the outside part of the lane.
If that's where the ratio is.
Right.
Yeah.
You could have a 12 to 1 and all the oil be outside as well. Not very likely.
Yes, that's a very extreme. It's 98.5% of the time. But
yes. I mean, you could. So
yes, you could double that way if you want to.
But normally, if you see the patterns built and you see basically like a crown or a Christmas tree, whatever you want to call it,
Yep.
The higher that ratio, normally to a certain point, the easier the pattern because it creates hold and it creates hook on the outside for your misrun. So
it makes it easy. You have hold left and hook right, so it makes it easier to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So
that's basically it. Yeah. So,
Sport shots are usually 3 to 1 and under.
Yep.
So if you want to bowl on a sport shot, it'll be flatter than 3 to 1.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty general term.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
all right. So Mike Sutton said, "Thank you very much for answering my questions."
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's pretty much it for tonight's show. We covered everything we wanted to cover. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We really want to thank AJ Chapman being with us here tonight. Really liked having him in for the interview. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks.
Obviously, we'll be heading down together. So
Yep.
I might just be cheering on or ball ripping or whatever I'm doing, or maybe I'll be bowling.
Maybe be bowling. There's a chance.
That'd be great. Who knows? You never know. So
there's a chance still.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. We hope to have you in again at some point. And everyone out there, hopefully we see this guy on the PBA League this coming season. So we definitely deserve it. So.
Thanks guys for having me.
Yeah.
And I'll just put one teaser out there. I have a new big sponsor coming for next season. So it's my first teaser ever. And I put it out there. So it's going to be exciting. So I have a couple different companies that are coming in to join next year. So it's going to be really cool.
Very cool.
So,
dropping some exclusive information here on the Frankie and Ding Dong Show. We really appreciate that.
Yeah,
just always good to hear those little teasers. And you know what? It's good to see the stars at the top of the game get some of those sponsors and get that recognition. You guys deserve it. You're the best in the world. And there's no one else that deserves it more than you guys do, for sure.
Thank you.
And you're being in that group, obviously.
Yeah,
all right. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. For King Ding Dong, I am Frankie Aberlon. Thank you, AJ, for joining us. And we'll see you guys next time on the Fridays with Frankie show.